Yes guys, welcome back to License to Ride. Just a quick one today. Gonna go out on a ride because it's been absolutely unreal, and the weather, yeah, just crazy. Just cleaned the bike. Don't know if you can see her properly through there, but yeah, she's looking shiny and good for the show tomorrow over at Sudbury. So I'll be doing another video on that. So you should have 2 videos next week. But yeah, we're just going to go on a ride and talk about life after the CBT, basically. I just feel like that's quite a good idea for people who are thinking about it. Yeah, just kind of my experience after my CBT over the past couple of months since I've had it, what I've learned, etc. But we'll go out on a ride and do that. But I just wanted to ask if you could subscribe, because it's free and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs in 2025. My content is very geared to the learning process and stuff like that, so if you think it will help you along your journey from CBT to your full license, then yeah, please do subscribe, and let's go out and ride right now. So yes guys, back out on the Lexmoto LXS 125. What are these doing here? Thank you for your service, I guess. Yeah, so today obviously just talking about like my experience after the CBT, kind of how I found it. I guess we'll start with my first solo ride and just kind of how liberated you feel when you go out on your own. You do feel a bit vulnerable, and I must admit I was a bit not scared. It just felt like a bit, well, it's a new thing. I felt a bit nervous, just felt a bit vulnerable on the bike, being in a car for 11 years and then coming onto a bike. Yeah, it just made it feel very kind of scary, yeah, but it was a great feeling, and I think you'll find the same if you're doing the same thing. You know, never been on a bike before, you do your CBT and it's really, it puts you at ease, because you realise actually it's not as hard as you think. It's not a pass fail, you're just learning to be safe on 2 wheels. So yeah, it was a good feeling. I recommend, if you know someone who also has a bike, friend, family, whatever, or just someone you know, maybe try and go out with them at first. I went on a couple of solo rides, but I went on my first big one with my dad for about an hour and a half. We went up to Norwich, and yeah, that was quite good. I found it better riding with someone else, even if you don't have comms. We had comms on the way back, we came back, but on the way there we didn't have comms, and I still found it easier to learn from someone else, with riding with someone else who's had their full license for years, because you pick up on little things they do at junctions, or kind of just general riding really, road positioning, how they react to things, and yeah, it just gives you a bit more of a, it put me more at ease, if you're honest. It made me feel a lot more calm about riding the bike and a lot less nervous. Don't know why, but yeah, maybe you'll find it the same. So yeah, maybe try and do that. It was a very good experience. But then obviously you go on, and it's been sort of, well, I said it in the intro, it's been maybe a couple of months now since I've had it, and I have been riding as much as possible, because every ride gives me a bit more confidence, and it feels really nice to have that confidence. It really does, because you start off being this nervous little, you know, person on this little 2-wheeled machine. You think the world's out to get you, and in a sense you still always ride like that, and you should ride like everyone's trying to kill you. But yeah, every ride just fills you with a bit more confidence. You learn another thing, you come across a situation you've never been in before, and I feel like that's where it really starts. You know, your CBT, yeah, people think that's where you actually start, but it's not. It's that first few weeks of riding on your own, and what you can pick up from that, and just gaining the confidence from that, really. Into a 30, lots of cyclists about today. Oh yeah, see, like that, front end just sticking out. Poor old boy on 2 wheels here. But like, he knows, he knew that was going to happen. He was looking for it at the junction. So, you know, he's got quick reactions to it. He's always looking, probably the same as you are on a motorbike when you buy CBT. You're always looking at little bits like these, just like little bits where cars can pull out. And car drivers don't have a clue about bikes, so never. That's one thing I've picked up in the few weeks, is never predict a car driver's movements, because they ain't got a clue what it's like to be on a motorcycle. Not one idea. I was actually having this conversation with my neighbour. Spotted the bike and got into a conversation with him. He used to ride, and yeah, we just kind of, the fact that there's nothing in the car license or test or any of that build up or the theory about motorcyclists. There might be now, but when I did it there wasn't. Yeah, just a little rant there on a side tangent. Yeah, just stuff to look out for. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. Your journey actually starts once you've got your CBT and you're out riding on your own, I feel, because there's only so much they can teach you in a day of training. Stuff like filtering. Obviously you never do any of that in the CBT, but you know you can do it, and you kind of have to just adjust to it yourself, basically. Oh, look at this guy, see, he's waiting there. He knows to give me room, even though it looks like he could fit both through there. You know, he gives me the room, which is nice. Some car drivers are geared towards motorcycling, but even I must admit, 11 years of driving, and I've never felt like, now that I've been on two wheels and I know what to look out for, I feel like I never really gave them the space that they need, even though my dad's been on two wheels, you know, for my whole life basically. Nice little turn there. Yeah, I feel like even I didn't give them the respect or room that you should. I've never tried to pull out on a motorcyclist, or I've always tried to be a bit more accommodating to them, but you don't realise just how much more you need to give them. So yeah, just be wary of car drivers, especially on like roads like this. Come across, yeah, just stuff to be aware of, really, because they're never going to think about you as much as you would like them to think about you. Yeah, so just bear that in mind when you come out of it. Just try and get some good road sense. Like I say, ride with other people, because that's where you're going to get most of your great advice from, is people who have already been through it and had the close calls and give you advice, so you can kind of, yeah, go on from that. But you will have close calls. I've had a couple. In my last video, towards the end, if you watched that, there was just a guy coming out of a driveway, and it looked like he could see me the whole time, so even I wasn't really being too aware. It looked like he knew that I was there, but really he didn't look back, didn't check twice, so that was a close call. But like stuff like this on a 60 road, you come into a place like this, you see the driveways, you just gotta slow down and just make sure that nothing's coming. Yeah, anyway, moving on from that, the other thing you've got to think about, obviously, after your CBT is all the gear and stuff like that. And to me, that's very important, to be honest. It's something that's been drilled into me since I started talking about it. Like, what's that? Like, what is that? The guy's just swerved in the road for no reason. If it's wrong place, wrong time, you know, I'm dead. You've just got to be really careful. I'm not trying to scare you, but the more you have it in your mind, the better equipped you are to deal with it on the road. So yeah, the gear. Big advocate for this, me, like the safety stuff, because people get a 125 and they think, oh, you know, it hasn't got a lot of power, you know, it's not going to hurt me if I come off. Of course it is. And you need all the gear that you would have if you had a big bike, because realistically hitting a wall at 60 on this is the same as hitting it at 60 on, you know, any other bike. So, you know, you got to be prepared for everything. You got to have a jacket, trousers, boots, the helmet. Even if you can afford and stretch your budget, they do really cool airbags. I use them in MotoGP, my dad's got one. I use them in MotoGP as well, and you've seen how the safety's improved in MotoGP. So yeah, just bear that in mind. If you can stretch your budget, they do these airbags, and if you come off and hit the deck, that's always going to be better than having no protection at all, isn't it? So yeah, the gear's very important, and you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Everything's rated to a certain spec, and you just got to make sure you have the correct rating. They've just released a new rating, so everything from now on will be that rating. Doesn't mean you can't use the older stuff, but yeah, just bear that in mind that they're bringing out new stuff, and it doesn't necessarily mean the price is going to go up. You can find really good gear, and I'll tell you the best thing I found for finding gear actually is I went to an MCN show, like a trade show, and they have some unreal deals there. I think my helmet was supposed to be about 270 quid. It's a Shark one, and I got it for 130, which is, to be honest, unreal. And the same with my jacket. I think my jacket was supposed to be, no, I'm going 20, it says 30 on my dash, just in case you see me speeding at any point. I'm not actually, I kind of got in my head where I need to be with the speed now on this bike. But yeah, the trade show was the best value for money ever, and you can find these deals on stuff like Sports Bike Shop and stuff like that. That's a good, in fact that's a great website. They've normally got some banging deals, so give that a check if you are looking for some gear. Yeah, even gloves and stuff, you know, just make sure you're fully protected, because it'll make all the difference. You're better off having it and not needing it than needing it and not having it, that's for sure. Absolutely sure. But yeah, you don't know where to look sort of before you get into it a bit more, and you find these little things and people give you advice. So it's kind of just what this video is. It's very rambly, I apologise, but you know, hopefully you'll pick up some stuff to think about. Yeah, you're better off getting all that stuff before your CBT. I know we're talking about after, but this is just if you're thinking about doing it. Look at that, is that 996? Oh, 900. Wow, super light, phenomenal. Seems we've gone past that as well. Another part of after your CBT is, you know, choosing your bike. Maybe you've done it before, or you do it before, and that's the way you go. But yeah, a lot of people wait till after. And you've kind of just got to choose it off your own senses, basically. You got to find what suits you. And again, the trade show, MCN trade show that I went to helped me, because I sat on a few different types of bike, and it gives you a feel for the models and kind of what you might like, really. And I sat on the KTM Duke 125. Put me off then, because you looked like I was going to turn in early. I looked at the KTM Duke 125, and I actually nearly bought one, but the guy sold it as I was about to go and look at it, which was a shame. But then I come across this, and I looked at it, and it gave that big bike feel that I wanted. And when I sat on it, it still gave me like I can sit up straight on it, like there's no weight on my wrist right now. It gives a bit more of a sports tourer feel, and I kind of like that. In fact, I like that a lot. It's all about, you need to sit on a couple. Don't rush into anything because it's cheap or it's there. These things will pop up constantly. 125s are everywhere, and you won't struggle to find one, that's for sure, because they are everywhere. Someone's always selling one, moving on to a bigger bike, especially in the summer months. They tend to be a bit more expensive, but you know, they're constantly everywhere. So don't panic, don't rush, make sure you do the right thing for you, and make sure it's the right bike, because you need to love it. You can't just be rushing into it, because if you don't love the bike, you know, it takes something away from the experience. What are you doing? So yeah, just don't rush, but do your research. There's thousands of videos and articles and everything you can read about the bikes. In fact, there is a YouTuber called Gilly Bikes, older dude, and he spends a lot of time doing 125 reviews, so he's worth a chat. I'll put the channel up here. Yeah, he's worth a look. Oh, and in terms of choosing a bike as well, a thing I noticed or didn't realise was kind of the maintenance required that's quite frequent. So like the guy who had this bike didn't really look after the chain very well. Sort of once a week you kind of need to clean the chain with a brush. You can buy a specialist brush, it doesn't even cost this much. But yeah, once a week kind of clean the chain with the brush and then lube it up as well. Again, fairly inexpensive. I think you can buy the brush and the chain lube for very little money. I think I paid about 20 quid for mine. What is this guy doing? What is he doing? Is he looking for something? It's really ruining this experience for me. Probably on his phone, I'd imagine. He's right over the other side of the road. But yeah, just like chain maintenance, just oil changes, obviously, as much as you can. Just look after it, because obviously when you come to resell it or whatever, you won't regret it. If you're a well-maintained bike, you know, you can't fault it, and it's always easier to resell if you've got service history and stuff. I don't know what this guy's playing at. So yeah, just make sure you know that, and you look into kind of what bike needs what maintenance, etc. So that's always good to know before you buy it. Oh, and the last thing, actually, a bit of advice that I would give is definitely don't buy a 125 brand new if you're just going to just go to your full license as soon as possible. Even if it's going to take you like 6 months, you will just be chucking away so much money, because you have on the road fees that you'll pay. You won't probably do that many miles on it if it's not your main mode of transport. And as soon as it leaves the dealership, wherever you get it, as soon as it leaves the dealership, you can pretty much kiss goodbye to quite a big chunk of your money, like instantly, which is a horrible feeling anyway. But you know, if you're going to keep it for a few years, then, you know, fair play, you're going to get the money out of it. But yeah, definitely one thing to think about if you're ready to buy your bike: don't buy it brand new, because in the long run you will regret it. What's this guy doing? Slow down for him. Nice part of the world, this. One of my favourite rides, actually. If I've got a few hours, or, well, in this case an hour, I will just come out here and do this loop, because it's absolutely banging. What else is there? There were some other bits I wanted to talk about. Can't remember them now. Oh, that was it. The community side of stuff. Because I always thought once I've done my CBT, I'd have to kind of wait a little while to get into the sort of communities and stuff, because you're on L plates, you just assume you know, people with full licenses and groups that do group rides. Well, this was my thinking anyway. I just assumed they wouldn't want to ride with you, just because you know, if you're on L plates you can't keep up or whatever. But actually, since I've done mine, I've realised that that's not the case at all, and in fact quite the opposite. Like, a lot of groups will have a lot of people who are going through the learning curve and are on L plates, and they're actually so welcoming. I bought a couple of bits off of a guy when I was first starting out a few months ago, and I was getting all my gear together, and I met this guy on Facebook, bought a couple of bits off him, and yeah, I've been out with them a couple of times now, and it just makes you realise kind of you don't need to have your full license to be incorporated into the community. Go to bike shows with your bike, and you know, just get out there. That is nice. ZX6R, was that 54? Nice. 2004. Beautiful. You don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. Just put yourself out there, really. I don't know what this car's doing. What the fuck? Yeah, just put yourself out there. Get out there into groups, because they'll be more welcoming than you ever think. So if that's a worry you have, you know, you're worried you're on L plates and people won't want to ride with you, it's not the case at all. In fact, I go to a show tomorrow, like I said, with those guys. So yeah, just don't worry about that. They're so welcoming. Most bikers are so friendly. They really are, and very welcoming, and got a lot of time for the learners. They'll teach you things and impart wisdom, and yeah, just all the things you want, really. And as long as you get in with a good group, I'm sure there are some groups out there that would shun you away, because it's life, you know, people are like that. You're always going to get people like that. But yeah, just don't be worried about it. I don't know if you saw that or if it hit the camera. That was a massive bee, just smashed me in the face. Yeah, get out there, go to the bike shows, go to car meets on your own, try and talk to people, interact. I'm very much an extrovert, so I think I'm okay with that. If you're not though, there's plenty of Facebook groups with group chats that you can join, and you can get into it that way, where you can kind of build up a bit more rapport with someone before you go out. But make sure you do that, because it's very important, especially if you're doing your... Everyone does their CBT for different reasons. If you're doing it purely for the love of bikes, and this is going to be your hobby, definitely get out there and make those connections while you're learning, because they'll teach you things and help you, and they'll keep you on good habits for the most part. In my experience anyway, like your shoulder checks, your mirror checks, riding in the right way in a group is really important to learn as well. So yeah, just push yourself to get out there one way or another, whether it's through talking to a few of them in Facebook groups, getting to know someone before you meet them, or just go to your local bike night, because I can guarantee you, wherever you live will have a local bike night. Get out there and just talk to people, because like I say, for the most part, bikers are such a friendly lot. They really are. So that's very important. But yeah, I think I've talked your ear off enough today. Let's get up this hill. That's another thing you'll notice as well on a 125. Every hill is a battle, but I relish it. But yeah, I think I've talked your ear off enough for today, so I will let you all go. But I will just remind you that, you know, if you did like the video, like and subscribe. It gives me such a boost in motivation with every subscription I get. So yeah, it'd be great if you could. And ride safe. And if you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I reply to all of them. If you're worried about anything, need some advice, just hit me up. Oh, and I've started an Instagram as well, which I'm going to try and do a bit more, a few reels on. I think it's literally got 0 followers at the moment. So yeah, if you do go over and follow, I'll put the at here because I've forgotten it. But if you do go over and follow, I know you're from YouTube because it's the only place I've put it out at the moment. So yeah, go and follow that, subscribe, like the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks guys.